to, before I get around to fairing the seams, I'm going to take just a spray bottle and just kind of lightly wet it down and get any dust off the hull. And then I probably won't do that today. I'll go ahead and let the hull, any water that's left over in the hull, cure out before or heat out. It's not going to do much in this weather. We've gotten, I think it's going to be maybe 60 degrees today for a high on the last day of August here in the Seattle area. So I'll go on with this and we'll come back later when everything is fine. I'll probably just go ahead and just wipe it down with a cloth and keep the moisture to a minimum. I'll be back. Well, it's Tuesday after Labor Day, and last week I did some fairing on the hull. I'll come in with a closer look, but I've been taking my cabinet scraper and going along and getting some of the big gobs that are picking up the cloud. And once again, try to stay away from the very edges of the seams and don't disturb any of the stuff that you've already done. Let me come in for a closer look here of what I've been doing. Okay, I've got this part finished and I used my wide knife on it, and it was basically the same thing. There's a little bit, I'll have to come back here. It's a little more feeling than what I want. Down in here you can't really feel much, but I'll come back later and with a second coat with a different color, remember. But it's just, you know, put the bead around it and then drag. On this one you can get almost all of them with this wide knife. But down on here, on these edges here, let me tip down a little bit. Just pour the bead along the edge, and then you don't want to go too wide, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and just drag your tool along like that. And here's what I was referring to. You got some little spots up on top here. Just run the cabinet scraper along, smooth out, making sure that you bridge the I wanted to get down, especially down in here where I haven't finished yet, and get that ready for a continuation, which I'm going to go ahead and mix up now. But before I do that, I want to vacuum up and wipe this down with a cloth. It's really befitting that you do that to keep the hull as clean as possible, so when you're putting in the fairing material here, that you're not picking up any gobs of goo that'll drag along and create streaks in your nice finish. So okay, hopefully this camera is going to be too far away. I've got it all bagged up and mixed, and so just take and squeeze out about 1 foot, and then just squeeze it along. Once you do it a couple times, you'll get the knack of it. One thing you don't want to do is build up too much material on the tool, so scrape it off and just carry it along. We're trying to get about 1 inch, 3/4 to 1 inch wide for the time being, just to fill up the very edge along the tape. This stuff works pretty good. It's very smooth and slow setting, so it gives you plenty of work. Let's try the next little section here. I'll go back over where I had been. And when you go over one of these scarf joints here, it may come in a little thicker because you got a rise in there. But I don't get too worked up because we'll be covering all of this with 6-ounce cloth, which is fairly stiff. stiffer than and thicker than, say, the 4-ounce cloth that I sometimes use. So it will span a lot more variability in the edge. You know, the little tiny things completely disappear when you get that heavier cloth laying on top of them. Okay, we'll start another run here. Like I say, 12 inches or so of material. Just carry it along. You'll also get some changes in width of your fairing depending on how the hull panels bend. Sometimes you'll get a lot, sometimes you'll get a little bit. The plywood will take on a little bit of twisting and bulging as it sets when you're building it. Got a little thicker edge along here. Okay, let's get down here. Go up close again. And you see that, yeah. Like on these corners down here and on the transom, I did that like I said, last week. And sometimes it helps if those areas are done before you do some of these other ones so that they will cure up, especially these edges along the seam, the stern seam here, that you'll have something already shaped that you can run the tool over and not screw up what you've just done. Remember, building this boat is not a race. And I'm finding that the cooler temperatures, it's like I said before, the day after Labor Day, and it's about 59 degrees outside. Okay, let me get one more close-up down here, and that should be enough on this one. Also down here you can almost expand. Here's one edge, here's the other one. You can almost do two at once, but I usually don't do that. Now I've got schmutz. Okay. We'll come back when on the next part after this cures, and I'll give it a sand, and then we'll mix in some yellow pigment paste with this, and then go back over places that need some touch-up. So.